Hello, everybody. This is Daily Recall on Wednesday, February 18th, 2026. I'm Tom Stoukas coming to you from Sarnia, Ontario. Hope everybody's having a nice night as we're on the eve of World War III. Or maybe not eve, but we're on the cusp of something horrible, something big and horrible. So, yeah. In Canada news, the big thing, I guess, not big thing, but this guy, Matt Genereux, he was a conservative, and then he resigned, and he said he was going to spend time with his family. So basically, quit politics. He was conservative. And today, they announced he's going over to the Liberals. So he's not resigning. He's going to run again as a Liberal. So basically, Mark Carney's, he changed his mind. So he's one seat closer to a majority. And I guess there's 3 by-elections that are scheduled, like they're due to be scheduled. And if they win all 3, they'll have a majority, I guess. And 2 of them are very safe Liberal seats, and so the final one is like this dodgy one in Quebec that they lost or won by 1 vote or something. Went to court and all that. So unless another person crosses the floor or someone from the NDP joins, which very well could happen, it's horrible. It's horrible to think he could get a majority, like a chip away and get a majority. Because there's all these nervous people who think Carney's going to save Canada during these tumultuous times. It's horrible. We're stuck with this globalist banker. And even if there's an election, his poll numbers are better than Pierre's, even though all the economic indicators for at least the peasant folk are down very bad. Or up in some cases, I guess, if you talk about food prices, but down in disposable income, that's for sure. But apparently Pierre still can't beat him. So now we got this guy, closer majority, doing well in the polls, Mark Carney. And I don't understand it, I guess I said before, he's got this coalition. He's got a weird coalition of immigrants. Like, they all vote Liberal. All of them. All the millions that got a Canadian passport will vote Liberal. Most of them. And then he's got the boomers, the ones with the nice house equity, who don't want to rock the boat. And then he's got who's he got? The elbows up. The elbows up crowd. And I guess that's it? No. That sounds right. I mean, boomers and immigrants is a lot of political weight there. Like, they all vote too. So that's why I guess he's still running Canada. Like, it's ridiculous. We need major political change in this country. I don't really see it coming unless the young people rise up. And so that's the big kind of the news. I mean, he did quit the Conservatives, so it's not like they lost a member. But the fact that he went over to the Liberals now, that adds to the Liberal ranks. I don't know. It's not as bad as if it would have been a new MP who went over and then after this guy quit and stayed neutral. But anyway, the possibility that this guy Carney's going to get a majority either through chipping away or through a new election is horrible, because the Liberals have, I don't know, been so incompetent in running Canada, especially the immigration policy. It's almost like they've done it on purpose, I think. And there's a couple good examples today. There's a lot of complaints coming out of the refugee, the Immigration Canada, or the Refugee Department, whatever, saying how basically everybody, it's like incompetently run, and people are just getting rubber stamped into Canada. It's corrupt, like all sorts of problems. So basically, they can't even run the asylum program in Canada, and it's a disaster. The same guys who've been running Canada for the last 10 years and who are almost have a majority are responsible for that, and they're not going to fix it. They're going to, you know what they're going to do? They're going to just make everybody citizens, give everybody amnesty or pathway, you know. And then you wonder why everybody's coming to Canada for asylum claims, because our acceptance rate gets rubber stamped by these idiots. So we'll look at that and some shocking population numbers. And also the Canadian military wants to, the government, this is the dumbest thing I ever heard. The Canadian government is doing a visa program for military people. Like, so basically people from foreign militaries who want to move to Canada. That's the dumbest thing I ever heard in my life. Like, you're just asking for spies. It's like, and who are these, you know, who are these people going to be coming? Like, are they from like the British Secret Service or the SAS, you know, the Special Forces, or the French armed? Like, it's, who are these? Are they going to be from India? Or are they going to be from Africa? Like, what the hell? We'll look at that too. And then also the Iran thing. Apparently, it's all over Twitter today, all over X. That the strike's coming, and there's so much activity, air activity and sea activity of armed forces building up there. Horrible. I think it's a horrible idea. A lot of people think it's great. I don't know, they have really short memories. I'm old enough to remember shock and awe and how gaga the Americans were to be bombing Baghdad. And at least they had 9/11. You know, they needed to get their revenge, and at least, you know, you could say, okay, they really exploited 9/11 for this invasion. What do they have here with Iran, which is a much bigger country? Has a lot more potential for spillover. Not as isolated as Iraq was, so they don't have a 9/11 to justify this. They just said, oh, we're going to do it. So we'll just keep an eye on that. That could spiral out. And the thing with Canada is we'll get all the refugees if the thing goes to shit. Because they want to get rid of the government there, okay. But I think they want to do more. They want to, like, break it up into pieces, Iran. Give some to the Kurdish people, give some to this group, make it nice and weak so you can control it all. Just like Syria. Look at Syria. It's a basket case. Libya, basket case. But all that does is create chaos. And it's going to send millions and millions of refugees to Canada and to Europe. It's going to be horrible. Like, we got tens of thousands from Syria, and Syria is way smaller. It's like 3 times smaller than Iran. So, yeah. So let's go to some other stuff here. So that's the thing. Carney's a little closer to his majority. Let's go to the bookmarks. So, yeah, that was a story. Matt Genero. I wonder if there'll be any more conservatives going over to the Liberals. Carney announced Genero will be a special advisor on economic and security partnerships. So he got a nice job out of it. That convinced him not to quit. It appears that Genero will reverse his decision to resign his seat as he joins the Liberal minority government. All right. So yeah, and it says if the Liberals retain their 3 seats in the outstanding by-elections Carney has his majority. Really comes down to Terrebonne, which they only won by 2 votes in the last election. That's crazy. Quebec election will decide the majority government. So yeah. And here's what our government's been doing, both Liberal and Conservative. It looks like Canada's government added 35% more people to the country between 2000 and 2024. That's crazy. Why would they do such a thing? I know a lot of it came with under Trudeau, but I think it would have happened either party. They're both basically the same on immigration. I think. Okay. That's crazy. So what did we have? In 2000, we had 30 million, almost a little over 30.5 million. And now we have 41 in 24. So that's 2 years ago. We have 41. So that's a big increase. 10 million. 10,600,000 people. New people. 34% increase, 35% increase. That's crazy. And then you wonder why you can't afford you have to rent a shitbox apartment for $2,000 a month. And that's more than like all of, what did Europe went? Europe only went up 5%. All these European countries combined. Anyway, yeah, very, very bad. And while nobody, even Pierre doesn't say anything about immigration anymore, I don't know, that stopped. He's talking about build, and jail, not bail. Alberta Premier Danielle Smith on immigration, she's starting to make some rumblings on immigration because I think she has to say something because the separatists are saying we'll have a better immigration policy, so she's saying something on immigration. She said, let's see what she says here.
There's a number of things.
What are your plans in that regard?
Well, we are going to be delivering the address at 6:45 tomorrow evening. There's a number of things that we're going to address, but I think it's no secret that a part of our budget challenges, number one, is on the revenue side, that we've seen a decline in our revenues as a result of WTI trending below $60 for most of the year when we need $74. But at the same time, our expenses have been growing faster than our revenue growth. And part of that is we've had the fastest growing population in Canada, adding 600,000 new people in the last 4 years alone. I think there's only one country in the world that has exceeded the level of population growth that Canada has had. And so this clearly needs to change. This is not sustainable. So I'll have more to say about that in the address, and then we'll begin the conversation with Albertans about what needs to happen next.
So she's going to talk more about immigration tomorrow. It'll be interesting. At least, some major politician in Canada is talking about immigration. I don't know how tough she'll be on immigration. She likes to play a lot of dress up. But at least somebody's talking about it. Pierre's not talking about it. So, good for her. All right, here's this thing we're talking about. Canada is launching a new immigration category for skilled military recruits, with job offers from the Canadian Armed Forces, including doctors, nurses, and pilots. That sounds horrible. Minister Lina Diab, who is a Lebanese person, who's from Lebanon, she's our immigration minister, says it will help defend our sovereignty and keep Canadians safe. Yeah. So they're going to get people from foreign militaries who want to move to Canada to come to Canada and join the military here. Oh my God. How many Chinese spies are we going to get out of this one? Let's see what she says here.
Critical to support. And finally, we are creating a new category for skilled military recruits to attract highly skilled foreign military applicants. Eligible.
This is horrible. Like, I thought they were saying how awesome the military was and the recruiting is going so great. And we all know that's BS, bullshit, as much as the tampons in the washroom. They wouldn't be looking for foreign military contractors, basically, if the recruiting drive in the homeland was going well like they said it was.
Recruits with a job offer from the Canadian Armed Forces, including doctors, nurses, pilots, can be invited to apply for permanent residence. They will be subject to the same security and all military requirements. This new category will support...
You really trust these guys who've run the asylum program into the ground, who run everything into the ground, to seriously screen potential military spies from foreign countries? I don't.
Our government's commitment to strengthen our armed forces, to defend our sovereignty, and to keep Canadians safe.
By bringing in a bunch of foreigners.
This category and other priority categories supports Canada's defence industrial strategy, which Prime Minister Carney announced yesterday, by adding a range of workers critical to support our sovereignty and security.
I don't know how that supports your sovereignty, bringing in a bunch of foreigners to run your military. I wonder how many Indian generals we'll get. Here's some reaction. Immigration Canada is introducing new express entry pathway for highly trained foreign military personnel. So our government is going to give people who don't want to assimilate into Canadian culture high-powered weapons. Yeah, who knows how much, who knows what kind of recruits they're getting in Canada, like all these newcomers who want their PR. I'm sure they'll widen that, give them PR in exchange for some military service. Such a bad idea. Ugh. So at least Danielle Smith's talking about it, but I don't think anything's going to happen with that. I think she has to talk about it because the separatists are going to talk about it, so she has to kind of head them off. All right, let's look at the immigration file. This is the big story, the enormous scandal brewing at Immigration Canada, Refugee Board Canada, whatever. It's the board that deals with refugees. Canadians are being screwed by massive fraudulent asylum claims, and it all relates to terrible incentive structures. Thread below's. All right. So it's horrible. It's horribly run, basically. Let's see some of this thread. 500,000 asylum claimants in Canada currently, triple from 22 levels, and now accounting for 1 in every 84 people in the country. That's crazy. That's insane. Canada's got the worst. 500,000 asylum claimants. And you know the thing is with Canada is we're not like Europe. Like in Europe, the borders of Europe are right on Asia, Middle East, Africa. So they don't have far to go to migrate and claim asylum. Canada, they have to get on a plane and fly here. And we're still beating them at asylum claims in Europe. And what that says is Canada is a little bit too welcoming for refugees, and the acceptance rate's a little bit too high. So all that does is encourage more people to come, because they know the system's so badly run that they'll just muck it up for their own benefit. And it's working. It's not. 1 in 8 and every 84 people in the country is a refugee. So that refugee is not going to, most of the time, they're not going to work. They're just going to sit there and take up resources because, they're going to say, oh, I got to wait for my refugee thing to clear. So yeah, a lot of unproductive people, and it's only going to grow. 500,000. Here's one of these whistleblowers. I worked as a decision maker in immigration. The amount of fraud and mismanagement is a massive scandal worthy of national public inquiry. We're waiting to happen. Yeah, I don't think the Liberals are going to do an inquiry. I wonder how many Indians are working there. Probably a few. The positive decision rate for refugee claims is sky high, probably going to exceed 85% this year, that's insane. So basically they're saying 85% of people get refugee. That's crazy. It's impossible to say no in the time constraints given. The law makes saying no and calling out fraud very difficult and time consuming. This is ridiculous. I think they made the system impossible to get denied. Like, you really have to be bad to get denied. It looks like you just need a good sob story. So basically it's just a badly run system with low-level workers who basically say yes to most of the refugee claims. So who knows who's slipping through? So it's got to be on purpose. There's no way the government doesn't know this is going on. Anyway, that's how you get more refugees, is like with this kind of system. Here's this. In just 9 years, the backlog of 17,000 asylum claims in Canada has grown to over 300,000. That's over 0.7% of the entire population of Canada just in asylum claims. Yeah, I don't trust the Liberals to fix this. This is horrible. It's always bad news. Every day is more bad news. I don't know what this is. This is from the Globe and Mail. It is difficult to isolate the effect of any single policy change on the level of new claims, given multiple factors such as rising global migration pressures and changes to temporary. All right. 300,000, man. Backlog. That's going to take years and years, if ever. They're just going to wave them all in. Say, okay, forget it. That's the plan. Unlicensed agent in India. And these guys in India, I can't stand these guys. Unlicensed agent in India. Who cares if he's licensed? Claiming he can get a Canadian work permit for about $23,000. No work experience or English needed. Says payment only after approval, and fake job offers are still being sold openly with no fear of consequences. Let's see what he's saying.
ਕਾਲ ਕਰੋ ਤੇ ਆਪਣਾ ਜਾਂ ਬੈਂਕ 'ਚ ਜੌਬ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋ ਜਾਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ ਫੀਲਡ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋ, ਹੁਣ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਵੀ ਜਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ। ਉਹ ਵੀ ਸਿਰਫ 15 ਲੱਖ ਰੁਪਏ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੇ ਦੇ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਸਾਰੇ ਪੈਸੇ ਵੀਜ਼ਾ ਲੱਗਣ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ। ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਅੰਸ ਹੈ ਜਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ, ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਕਿਸੇ ਪ੍ਰਕਾਰ ਦੀ ਆਇਲਸਪੀਟੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ, ਘਬਰਾਓ ਨਾ। ਬ੍ਰਾਈਟਵੇ ਵੀਜ਼ਾ ਕੰਸਲਟੈਂਟਸ ਦੀ ਐਕਸਪਰਟ ਟੀਮ ਨੂੰ ਕਾਲ ਕਰੋ ਤੇ ਆਪਣਾ।
So basically, these guys, and there's tons of these dudes, and they operate on the internet now. Even before the internet, they were in business, but now with the internet, and they don't care. They're not hiding it because they know we're suckers. So basically, they're selling visas almost. Like they're saying, "We'll get you a visa into Canada," and who knows who they got working with them in the government. In whatever institutions, MPs even, a lot of Indian MPs. So, yeah, we got to ban immigration from India. This is horrible. This is just one guy. There's millions of these guys. And here we got Indians. They don't want to go back. They would rather die than go back to India. This is going to be a big problem because we have a lot of them with expiring visas. And the reason they got the visas thinking they are told by guys like this that once they get their visa, they'll stay permanently in Canada, which is kind of the plan of the Liberals and even the Conservatives, as long as they love immigrants from India. But anyway, these temporary residents with expiring visas demand that Canada allow them to stay. Our demand is simple: extend our work permits and give us a fair chance to stay. How are we a burden on this country? Oh,
but alone,
here,
at
let's
the
see
same
this.
time, we are here today representing temporary workers and international graduates whose work permits expired in 2025 or will expire in 2026. Our demand is simple: extend our work permits and give us a fair chance to stay. We have spent 6 to 7 of our most productive years in Manitoba, working, paying taxes, and supporting the economy, according to our data. 30% of work permits have already expired, and 48% will expire in 2026, affecting around 1,500 people in Manitoba alone at the same time. The government is talking about sending back 1.8 million temporary foreign workers while continuing to recruit new international students from around the world with the same promises that were made to us.
Well, we didn't make any
International
promises.
students pay 4 times higher tuition, pay taxes, spend all their earnings in Canada, and fill labor shortages. So we ask, how are we a burden on this country? We are not asking for special treatment. We are asking
you
for
kind of are,
fairness,
actually.
recognition, and respect for the years we have already contributed to Canada.
So basically, this is their expectation: is the minute they land in Canada with that visa, they're never going back to India. They'd rather die than go back to India. And that's just the truth, like literally. And even if their visas run out, they're gonna appeal it. They're gonna do whatever they can to not, unless you got like an ICE going around grabbing people. They're gonna do whatever they can to stay. Some might even smuggle themselves into the States. But I think the Indians are going to lobby, because I don't think India wants them back, because they got too many people still. So I think the Indians and the MPs, the Indian MPs, both conservative and liberal, they're going to try to get some amnesty going. And Carney's kind of hinted at that. Whoever's been a good Canadian, prospective Canadian, can stay or should be able to stay, stuff like that. So I can see all these Indian dudes getting an amnesty if they cry. They're gonna think if they cry enough, and cry, saying we don't want to go back to India, that they'll get the amnesty. And the way it is, I think they're gonna get it. Unfortunately, I don't think they have the stomach to remove them. And why remove them when you'll have all these new voters? But yeah, they never want to go back to India. They'd rather be dead than go back to India. And it's bizarre that you get a visa and you think it's a permanent, I had a visa to Korea for a year. I wasn't planning on, I didn't expect them to offer me a path to citizenship. But these guys, that's what they were promised. So we'll see if we'll have an amnesty. Once Carney gets a majority, I'm sure they'll work on it. Okay. So that's it for the immigration file. I mean, so basically the refugee system's a mess. It's hugely backlogged, and it's high acceptance rate and generous benefits. Like we talked the other day about over $1 billion in healthcare just for refugees. It's just going to attract more refugees. Especially we have an ocean they have to fly here, and we're still beating Europe. So yeah, and then the military. We're gonna fill the military up with foreign immigrants from foreign militaries. Yeah, makes perfect sense. I don't understand it. That'll be a new avenue for Indians and other third world guys to get and say, hey, I was in the army. All right, here's a picture of me with a gun. All right, let's go to this Iran business. I mean, it's basically the same all day. So this is what I saw in the morning. And, Axios is kind of like this Washington. They know all the gossip going on in Washington. So when I saw Axios, I figured they're probably hearing all the chatter. So Axios reports that Trump administration is closer to a major war in the Middle East than most Americans realize, and that it could begin very soon. So yeah, that's crazy. I mean, it's crazy that he's doing it, considering like that's literally what he promised not to do when he won re-election. Like Kamala, he said that's something Kamala was going to do. And I supported Trump just for this whole new no war promise, like whether it's Ukraine, Russia, or genociding the Gaza Strip, or going to war with Iran, just like Iraq. Like, it just, anyway, if he does it, like, he still hasn't done it, so you really can't say he did it yet, but it looks like he's gonna do it. So yeah, basically the biggest one of the biggest promises is broken now, and I wonder if it's doing it to distract from the Epstein files, the horrible satanic Epstein files. And it could go, it could get pretty crazy. Iran's a big country. They've got allies, unlike Iraq or Libya. They have allies. They're not isolated. They got military. They've been in war. Like they've known how. Like the Iran-Iraq war was a brutal war. I'm sure they have a lot of experience from that. But the point is they could go spiral out of control. And definitely it's hard to say what'll happen. They said it might start as early as this weekend, or it might be a few weeks. I think it'll start soon, but who knows? And this is, and most people are like cheering for this, like you saw about all those rallies around the world. Toronto, 700 million people showed up for this rally, I guess. And usually they show up for rallies against war. Like I remember the Iraq war, there was rallies all over the world. Now they're rallying for it. It's crazy. I don't understand it. So, but I think there's a lot of people opposed to it. But the establishment is just totally doing the message, the pro-war message, like crazy propaganda, crazy. And like I said, Iraq, when George Bush did Iraq, they were riding that 9/11 emotion. I mean, that's, even though Iraq really had nothing to do with 9/11, like actually nothing to do with it, but they were using that plus the WMD to scare people, the fear factor. And there's no real fear factor here. It's just Trump, Trump's assuming his base is going to listen to whatever he says, and it's just another forever war for Israel. So, hasn't happened yet, but I'm sure everybody on the internet seems to think it's going to happen imminently. So this is I remember this vividly, is Iraq, the Iraq invasion, and it was preceded by this bombing campaign in Baghdad. Shock and awe, they called it on the news. And they were loving it, the Americans. The TVs, the news was playing this. It was like it was so weird. It was like entertainment for the masses in the U.S. Let's look at this. Look at that. It's like 4th of July there. It's crazy. That's a... They bombed the shit out of that. Yeah, I remember that. They bombed the shit out of Baghdad, and they called it shock and awe, and they wanted to, like, basically scare them into submission, I guess. But I wonder if they'll do that to Tehran. So, I mean, I think they'll drop a nuke on them, too, which is horrible. Because, I don't know, Israel's itching to nuke them, I think. Because they figure out we got to do it now. It's now or never. And it's very easy to do it because if the U.S. has got these aircraft carriers, if they sink one of these aircraft or take a shot at one of these aircraft carriers, or even a destroyer, the U.S. is going to totally, probably, you know, if you lose a couple thousand sailors, you don't think they're not going to nuke Iran, or at least send a few tactical nukes? I mean, it could get out of control in a hurry. So whoever cheers for this stuff, I don't know. I'm always against war because most of them are bullshit. 99.9% of them. So, yeah. It's all over. That's all I saw today on the internet. Iran. So we'll see if it happens. I mean, hopefully it doesn't happen. Hopefully they actually figure a way not to bomb the shit out of it and come to an agreement of some sort. But it could go quick. Like, they could just collapse the government and everybody could run away and whatever. That's like the best case scenario. But the worst case scenario is nukes flying. Israel sending a couple nukes over there. That's the nightmare scenario. Or it, expanding to, like, bringing other countries getting involved, like Russia, China. So, and other Gulf countries too. I mean, it has so much potential to escalate. And it's not like 25 years ago, or even in, like, the first Desert Storm, where the U.S. was clearly the dominant power in the world. So they kind of could do whatever they wanted, especially the first Iraq War. But now they're not as powerful. So they're gonna take on a very more powerful adversary. So I don't know. It has very bad vibes. U.S. is sending significant numbers of jet fighters and support aircraft to the Middle East, assembling the greatest amount of air power in the region since the 2003 invasion of Iraq. Yeah, but Iran is no Iraq. Okay. Mass amount of U.S. military equipment continues to flood into the Middle East in preparation for action against Iran. See this Fox News cheering it on. Here in Israel, officials reportedly believe war could erupt in a matter of days and are preparing accordingly. So, yeah. Can't believe American people are just like, yeah, this is a great idea. Like, literally, if you go to American cities, everybody's on drugs, there's crime everywhere. People can't afford groceries, they can't afford housing, they can't afford medical bills if they get sick. And this is the top priority of the U.S., is to get into a war with Iran. Like, it's top priority to Israel. But it shouldn't be the top priority of the U.S., but it is. If I were American, I mean, I'm upset enough with Canada, but if I were American, I wouldn't want this war for sure. While we're on the cusp of World War III, Israel needs the U.S. and Europe to fall. It's literally written in their holy books. All right? Yeah. President of the United States. So, yeah. Basically, lots of stuff on Iran today, so everybody seems to think that's going to happen. Massive U.S. military buildup.
U.S. military buildup. And reports indicate tonight that Israeli officials believe that war could be just days away. From the Navy perspective, there is currently the USS Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group in the Arabian Sea. You also have the world's largest aircraft carrier, the USS Gerald R. Ford, on its way to the Mediterranean. It's expected to be in place by Sunday. All of this taking place as planes are taking off and headed into the Middle East. We know over the past 24 hours alone, more than 50 U.S. fighter jets have been deployed to the region. Some of them are carrying air defense systems, others military equipment, so that President Trump has options as it relates to what to do with the situation in Iran.
Now I understand why Pam Bondi is no longer...
All right. So, yeah. It's so weird. Like, Trump's just doing a war. No declaration of war. Didn't really even make an address to the American people saying, hey, we're going to war. I'm sure he will, I guess, once the bombs start dropping. But it's just so weird. It's just so weird. Like I said, it's going to be, if it does get out of control, we're going to, in Canada, we're going to see a new wave of refugees coming to Canada. Already with our refugee, we're talking about the refugee system here. It's just going to be totally obliterated. So we'll see what happens. They say matter days. We'll see. So until then, next broadcast will be February 19th tomorrow, Thursday, February 19th. We'll see what the news brings tomorrow. Until then, have a nice night.